Hello everyone. Welcome to today's session on workflow in SAP SuccessFactors Employee Central. In this session, we'll learn about what is workflow, what are the various steps involved in configuring workflow in SAP SuccessFactors, and few real-time examples as well. What is workflow in SAP SuccessFactors? Workflow in SAP SuccessFactors is an automated approval process. In simple language, we can say various approvals required to make any changes in the system. So whenever such changes happen, the workflow has to trigger and it has to go through several levels of approvals. For an example, if employee submits a time of request, it goes through levels of approval before getting approved. Likewise, if an HR updates any personal details or any job information related details, it has to go through the different level of approvals before it gets updated in the system. So the workflow sends requests to approval in a defined sequence so that it ensures compliance, visibility, and approval tracking. Now we will look at the steps to create a workflow in SAP SuccessFactors. So to create a workflow in SAP SuccessFactors, first of all, go to Admin Center. There, search for Manage Organization, Pay and Job Structure. Once you go to Manage Organization and Pay and Job Structure, select Workflow, and then click on Create a New Workflow. So once you click on Create a New Workflow, a box will open wherein you need to fill in the details like Workflow ID, Workflow name, Workflow type, which may be for Employee Center, MDF, or for any other modules, and the effective date. So effective date is the date from when the workflow will be activated in the system. Once you have entered these details, the last step is to add the approvals, which may be one or many approvers through which the workflow has to go through. So each step contains approver type like manager role or the dynamic role, approver name, and so on. So we will look at few of the screenshots to see how to configure workflow. So if you look at this screenshot, this is the page for manage organization, pay and job structure, where you can see workflow as one of the option. Click on this workflow. Once you click on the workflow, you will have to add name, descriptions, status, and the effective date. Once you have created the workflow, you need to add the contributors and the CC. So contributors are those who will be involved in approving the workflow. CC roles are the ones who will be added as an email group. So whatever the approvals will be there, or whatever the notifications will be there, those will go to the CC roles. CC roles will generally do not have the permissions to approve or reject any workflow. Only contributors will have the access to. So as you can see in this screenshot, we have a one approver who is added here in the contributor and the role. So the important thing is once the workflow is created, you need to add these in a specific field or an object along with the business rule to trigger a workflow whenever any changes happens. So in this slide we look at the various role types. The first one is approval, the person who will be approving or rejecting the request. Second role is CC role, who will just get notification but will do not have the permission to approve or reject. And the third one is edit. So for edit, the user can either edit the approval or can show no approval behavior. So once it edits the workflow approval, it goes to either the previous approver or to the next approver. No approver behavior is something which is at the final stage wherein no action is required from the approver. So now we'll look at few of the approver type, which may be employee manager for any changes in the system, or the HRVP partner, or any HR person who will have the access for approving any changes. The dynamic role is a role group wherein there can be the various approvers present in a system for the various situations. Edit and no approver behavior. So as discussed in the previous slide, with edit behavior or edit role, the approver can edit the workflow or make any changes to the content in a workflow and route it to the previous or to the next level of approval. Whereas in the no approver behavior, this step is auto completed once the all approvals or the conditions are met. So in this slide, we'll look at few real-time examples for a workflow in SAP SuccessFactors. So we have a condition wherein an HR admin updates the job information like department or any job info, and it has to go through manager's approval and notify HR BP and allow the HR to edit before final submission. So let us have a look how to configure this workflow in SAP SuccessFactors. So as you can see, the first thing we'll do is we'll go to organization pay job structure. We'll click on create a workflow. Once we click on create a new workflow, we'll define the workflow ID, name, and the type. In the third step, we'll add HR admin as an approver who will have access to edit the workflow during the transaction. And we'll add second approver as a manager. So there are two levels of approval. First one is HR admin and the second level of approver is manager. And we'll add HR VP to a CC row. That means the HR VP will do not have the access to approve or reject the workflow, but they will get notified for any changes or any approval or rejection email during work. Once we have created and added these configurations, we'll save and assign this workflow to job information field in the business rule.